So today is Friday, February 9th, episode 5. Actually, we'll call it episode 1 of the best worst sports show ever.
I love it.
Finally got a name. We're moving up in the world.
Welcome, fellas and ladies. No, probably mostly fellas, but some ladies, maybe.
Yeah, maybe for the first 5 minutes, and then they'll drop off. All right, so first we got Super Bowl was last weekend. How you doing?
I'm actually surprisingly doing well. I was, in the past I've kind of like had these I don't know what you want to call it, episodes of depression, where I sort of lie in my bed, avoid TV, and cry. And but this one was surprisingly well. I think it's because Tom has 5 fucking rings, and it's like, you know what, dude, a 6th one sounds nice, but like, I feel pretty good about things right now, so I'm cool. I'm not like, I mean, yes, it's disappointing, and it's disappointing that, like, and how terrible does that sound? I'm sitting here like, not a big deal. We lost Super Bowl, and other fans are like, man, fuck you, I don't have one. So like, yeah, it's still disappointing that the Pats lost. With that said, at the end of the day, what happened, what it came down to is the Eagles made the plays that mattered. Period. That's all it came down to. Is the Eagles made the plays when it mattered most, and the Patriots did not. If Brady doesn't get stripped on that final play, I can almost every single person in this world knows he would have marched down that field and scored a touchdown. But he did get stripped because the Eagles made that play, and that's what matters. So I'm happy for the players. I'm not happy for the city because fuck that city.
I mean, yeah, fuck Nick Foles, fuck the Eagles, fuck Philly. I really was hoping that it'd burn down to the ground that night or during the parade. Actually, the parade was pretty tame. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah,
But, I mean, you got Philly fans eating horse shit after the game, setting fires, pulling down their street lights. Like,
bro, it's
come on.
no words. No words.
I just don't understand. So who do you think had a worse weekend last weekend? Rob Gronkowski, after getting robbed when he gets home from the Super Bowl. They stole a safe, a bunch of guns, and a bunch of just miscellaneous things.
Yeah.
You and the rest of the Patriots fans, more specifically ones that actually traveled to Minnesota, had to sit in the cold, deal with Philly scum, or me for not hitting a single bet after all the numerous prop bets, betting on the Patriots, just all the house money I had pretty much gone.
Dude, there's a lot of people who lost a shitload of money. Shouts to those people that I sympathize with, people who lost all that money.
Yeah,
Big dollars.
I mean, I wasn't dealing with like thousands of dollars or anything, but pretty much all the money I'd built up during the football season is pretty much gone.
Yeah, I'm not even that upset about the loss, so it's whatever.
Yeah.
She was rooting against the Patriots too. She's a hater.
It's a shame. It's damn shame. All right, so this week in the news, we had Elon Musk successfully launching the SpaceX rocket into space.
Yeah.
So we got right now there's a Tesla Roadster right in orbit. could be anywhere, flying above us. What do you think about that?
It's pretty badass, man. Kind of what I was saying to you earlier, dude. Elon's the man. He's gonna go down as the greatest man that ever lived, ever.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really that big of an Elon Musk guy, even like a couple months ago. Like, he just was this guy that had all these cool ideas. He's like, yeah, we could totally do this, and everybody just like jumped on his dick. But then he puts out a flamethrower last week, and now he's actually putting rockets and cars into space. Like,
he's making a name for himself.
Yeah, he might be onto something here.
He's putting all those satellites into the orbit too. Low atmosphere satellites, like 400 of them, that are going to provide free Wi-Fi to the entire world. And that, I don't know the time frame on that, but that's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if the Wi-Fi works better than it does at my house, I would be 100% on board with that, because fuck Cox Communication, they suck.
Yeah, Time Warner still.
Oh, dude, Time Warner's even worse.
Yeah, dude, fuck them.
All right, so next, sticking with the space, we got scientists are saying that the sun is going to get dimmer for about a 50-year period starting in 2020. It's called when the sun goes into grand minimum, and the last time it happened was from 1645 to 1715. And I mean, I'm on board with that. I live in Arizona. It was 80 something degrees today. I want to wear sweatpants some of the year at least. In the summer, it's like 120 degrees every day. If I could cut that down to like 85, 80, and in the winter, maybe we get that 70, 60.
Is it
That'd be
going
the
to
shit.
make a difference?
Apparently, it was back in the 1600s, but I mean, how good were their records back then?
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, the rest of the world is kind of fucked, but
Well, fuck them.
personally, I think it's pretty cool.
That's good.
But one thing about that is we already get a lot of snowbirds and people coming down from wherever their cold place is every winter. It's basically going to turn into that all year round. So, I mean, it would pretty much turn Arizona into Florida, which is a damn shame because I don't
No,
really want to deal with old people every fucking day. So,
mm, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
so next we got Facebook is testing a downvote button, but they won't really pull the. They said they're not going to pull the trigger on a full-out dislike button. They're testing this with about 5% of U.S. Android users, and they have no plans to expand that test at all.
Um, so really, there's no point in doing anything at all. But they're doing it on Android users, which is disappointing because I was really looking forward to downloading some shit that I don't like.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, every time I log onto Facebook, there's a bunch of shit that I don't really like. I don't want to see. It's just annoying. If I could downvote them, it might be just a little bit of incentive for them to like calm their shit.
It really just makes me feel good about myself.
It does. If I can show everybody that I'm a hater and I just don't like something, then I mean that's awesome.
Really. Bring down a notch or two.
Yeah. So I mean, it would basically turn Facebook into a maybe just a different version of Reddit. Is kind of what they were talking about it like.
It's gonna become Reddit. Facebook kind of sucks. Dude, Facebook sucks anyway. I hate Facebook.
It really does.
Well, it's awful.
Yeah.
Can't stand Facebook.
Yeah. It's just one of those things that I just open up without even thinking about it, and I'm like,
I
oh
know.
shit, I've been scrolling for 20 minutes.
Exactly. You didn't realize it. It's mind numbing.
Yeah. All right, so next we got the Olympics opening ceremony is tonight. Technically, it happened at 3 a.m. NBC streamed it online, but they're actually going to play the full shebang at 6 p.m. tonight. I assume it's Eastern. I mean, so that's always a good spectacle to watch. I do enjoy the Olympics and all the pageantry.
Love it. Sorry, I'm going to move my mic here. I love the Olympics. They're my favorite. The Winter Olympics. Summer Olympics kind of suck, but the Winter Olympics are cool.
Yeah, I mean, really any chance I get to pull out all my patriotic things, hate on other countries, yell that we're the best. I just kind of I love shit like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, us not going to the World Cup was the biggest gift curse kind of combo ever. I don't have to watch 90 minutes of soccer anymore this year or for the next 4 years, but I also don't get to drink beer at noon on a weekday and get pumped about the U.S. So
That's really the only reason anyone wants to watch soccer is to drink during the day.
yeah, I mean, especially since the U.S. is out, I don't give a fuck. I probably won't watch a single minute of the World Cup.
I'm saying, I could care less now. I don't know enough about soccer to care.
I don't either. They say things like offsides, and I just don't understand what they're talking about.
That just lose to me.
Yeah. So the Olympics is in South Korea this year in a place called Pyeongchang, and people are all up in arms right now because their restaurants are still serving dog, which I mean, that's what they eat there. That's like us hosting the Olympics and them saying, why the fuck are you guys selling hamburgers and pizza?
It's definitely a cultural thing for sure. It's kind of yeah. It's just tough for us because we value dogs so much over here.
Yeah.
And then you go over there and they're literally eating dogs.
Yeah. I mean, I love dogs, don't get me wrong. I'm a big dog guy, but I mean, if that's what they eat, if they got a bunch of dogs running around and no cows, then I mean, can you blame them?
It's like Australian kangaroo meat. You walk into a supermarket in Australia and they have kangaroo meat sitting all over the place.
Is it good?
It's very like tough. It's not good. I did not enjoy it. I tried it once.
Yeah, it's kind of like deer.
I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very tough and like chewy. It wasn't my thing.
yeah,
Plus, I kind of like kangaroos. I kind of like felt like guilty about eating it.
yeah. That makes sense. I've never really seen one in person outside of a zoo, but I'd have a hard time like not kidnapping one or like keeping it as a pet.
But it's fucking awesome. They're cool as hell.
Alright, so next we got the Disney streaming service is set to launch fall of 2019. I wrote a blog on this when they announced it. So pretty much they're pulling all of their Disney movies and shows and everything from all the other streaming services like Netflix and Hulu, and they're not going to include any rated R movies or shows. So it's all kind of kid-friendly content.
Right.
I mean, this is one of those streaming services that every man in America is going to want their girlfriends, wives not to know about. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck watching 800,000 Disney movies at any point in time.
I mean,
Like you in a second again.
yeah, for sure. Um, I'm with you on that. Uh, I mean, some Disney movies are cool. I reflect fondly on my Disney days. I had like dude, I had like a whole collection of Disney movies back in the day, and I don't know if you did, but like dude, we had like rows of Disney movies.
Oh
And
no,
I
I still fuck with Disney movies. I just don't want to watch them 800,000 times in a row.
watched them all day. But yeah, for sure, I hear that. I'm with you on that. Like, it's cool to like go back and reminisce about the good old days every now and then. But I'm not trying to like watch Aladdin like 17 times a year.
Yeah, I don't need to come home from work every day and have to sit and like watch halfway through Mulan every fucking night. Like I just don't need that in my life.
Mulan was my favorite, bro. Come on now.
I mean, it's good, but I don't want to see it every day.
Oh shit.
I think
No, I'm with you.
it was on last week at my house, and then it was on the next day, and I'm like, once the streaming service comes out, this is gonna be bad.
Man, it's good for kids. You're a kid now.
Yeah, that's true, but I mean, the kid wasn't even watching it. That's the problem. All right, so next we got Nebraska sells out their spring game in under 24 hours.
That's just Nebraska in general. That's normal. Big surprise.
That's true. I mean, they sell out their spring game pretty much every year. The only issue I had is every time I've gone to a spring game, I've never paid for a ticket. They've always just been like, "Here's 8 tickets. Here you go.
Yeah,
Have
you
fun at
just
the
go.
game."
Yeah, they practically give them away.
Yeah, pretty much everybody's employer has hundreds of tickets to give
Yeah,
away.
it makes sense. But yeah, I can't believe people are paying $500 for a ticket. That's insane.
Yeah, the resale I saw yesterday was 533 for lower bowl.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean I honestly think people would pay that, but it's a fucking scrimmage. Like it's cool, it's fun.
Dude, it's the frost, man. The frost effect. That's what it
That's
is.
true. This
It's
is
like, well, everyone's just like frostburners, so that's what's going on.
that's true. This is going to be really his first time to like shine a little bit in their eyes. Well, a little bit more.
Exactly. He's already a god. He hasn't even played a single snap yet.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if he's going to get in there and run a little bit of the option like he did at
I
UCF,
think
like during the spring game. I mean, that'd be awesome if he just comes out in full pads and just doesn't even acknowledge that he's the coach. He's just like playing. Yeah, he's just like the quarterback of the red team. Every single year. I think, I mean, they're definitely going to contend for the Big Ten. I mean, they're going to be right up there with Ohio
Oh,
State and Michigan's and Wisconsin, but maybe in a year or two they'll take it. But
did you
I just don't think that'll ever be good enough for Nebraska fans unless they're winning the national championship and going
did you
undefeated.
see that running back we signed? There, like, was it 2 days ago? 4-star guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's
He's gonna be
Yeah,
sick.
I'm excited about that. He can like run dudes over, and he can like kind of he's an all around. Yeah, he's just good. It'll be cool. He's power back and speed back.
Yeah, I mean, if they can hold on to him, that's gonna be
Yeah,
good.
dude, for sure. It'd be sweet. I'm excited.
All right, next we got a little bit of shocked or not. Jimmy G becomes the highest paid NFL player, making $137.5 million over the next 5
I
years.
mean, you can't be shocked because even though like people are gonna be like, oh, he only played 5 games, so like, why are you paying him so much money? But like, they don't have a choice. There's no choice. San Francisco has to do that. They have no choice but to take that gamble. So you can't. It's not a shock. I think. I don't know. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much had to pay him that or they're going to lose him. I
And
mean,
who else?
you got guys like Matthew Stafford's gotten that huge payday last year. Uh, Aaron Rodgers' contract's coming up in the next year or two, I think, and his is going to be ridiculous.
Oh, Rodgers. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
insane.
I I feel bad for Green Bay, but it's the same
It's
easily.
ridiculous. Uh,
Yeah, unless I mean they need to unload a little bit of money to a divisional rival. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Rodgers had to go play in Minnesota for a few years, you know. Yeah, we do. I don't think Case Keenum is the answer. I think it's just, we're not in the greatest situation right now, but we'll figure it out maybe. All right, so next we got the Rangers trade Russell Wilson to the Yankees. Happened about last week. So it's an interesting little transaction going on in MLB. Yeah, I've never really been a big Russell Wilson guy. I remember when he was at Wisconsin, and that wasn't the funnest game to watch in the world. and the, and then just how just him and Pete Carroll together. I mean, even, I don't like them either of them separate, but when you get them together, they just become like the most smug person in the entire world. And I can't stand it. Them or the Seahawks, I guess. So I feel like he has too good of an attitude though. Like he's really hiding something. Yeah. Basically, yeah. All right, so next we got four-star wide receiver recruit Jacob Copeland. He on National Signing Day, he was sitting at the table with his mom. He had the hats laid out. He had Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida. His mom's wearing a Alabama sweatshirt with a Tennessee hat. Kid, kid picks Florida, puts it on his head. His mom gets up and just walks out of there. Yeah, so all three of them were in a line. Yeah, I mean, to Alabama, a four-star recruit is a dime a dozen. They have a whole team of them. Like, he's gonna have to wait 2, 3 years to play there. Uh, yeah, next year more and more is coming in, so who knows? I mean, he's from Pensacola, Florida, so I mean, he's staying pretty close to home. The mom should be a little happy about that, but just to get up and walk out of there in front of like his whole school on like the biggest day of his life so far, it's ruthless. All right, so next we got Josh McDaniels backs out of the Colts head coaching job after the Colts prematurely announced that it was a done deal. He was hired. I mean, yeah, I mean the ownership from the top down is just garbage. I mean, I feel like if Andrew Luck is healthy, they're in the conversation. They're at least gonna win more games than they did this year. Yeah, but are you at least a little bit worried that the Colts ownership say that the rivalry with the Pats is back on? Well, yeah. I mean, it's just like there's nothing they could ever do. They can't beat them. Like they just have to be happy that they're not in the same division. All right, and then last night the NBA trade deadline came up, and Cleveland pretty much got rid of everybody not named LeBron James or Kevin Love. They traded away Isaiah Thomas, Crowder, Dwayne Wade, Derrick Rose, Channing Frye, and Shumpert. But I mean, they just got rid of the greatest team 10 years ago. Well, yeah. I mean, he's just not the same ever since that injury. And I mean, he needs to be the guy in control. He can't have like a LeBron or somebody else telling him what to do. I think he's going to be good in LA though. Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like Ball's more of like a beta guy. He has no problem passing the ball. He's a big assist guy. He's kind of like John Wall. He has no problem dishing it out, but he can still kind of facilitate. Yeah. Yeah. I'd be really surprised if he doesn't end up either there or Golden State. I mean, that's got to be his one and two options. Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. I like LeBron. I just hate all the teams that he's been on, which is it's a real shame.
The game has changed so much. Whatever. That's how it is.
Yeah, I mean they do so much moving around now. You almost have to just you can be like, yeah, I like that team because of this player, and I like this team.
Exactly.
I mean, you're finding less and less people nowadays that are diehard fans of a certain team unless you like live there.
I would agree.
All right, so the last shock or not we have is Joaquin Phoenix is reported possibly being the next person to play the Joker. They're not the happiest with Jared Leto's rendition of the Joker. I mean, I think Joaquin Phoenix would be awesome in that role.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Phoenix. He's always been a good actor. He doesn't do a lot of like acting, I think, these days, but I'd be cool with him doing that. He played.
Yeah, I think he would bring back the kind of style of Joker that I like the Heath Ledger kind, like the creepy, the dark kind. I don't really need that hipster with tattoos and grills and shit. I don't really need that.
I think he'd play. Yeah, he played a good role. He played a good Joker. I agree with that.
Yeah. So hopefully they get him signed. That'd be pretty cool. All right. So this week's random thought of the week. I've heard a lot of people talking about like book clubs. LeBron has he reads The Godfather every single year. Tries to start book clubs. Yeah. As soon as the playoffs come around,
Whatever.
Carrying a book, he's carrying around The Godfather. So
I believe that when I see it.
yeah, so that's one thing. I don't get book clubs. I mean, I understand the premise of it. You get together, everybody reads a book, you have something to talk about. It drives the conversation a little bit, but anybody that's ever been like, "Hey, I got this great book I think you'd like," is a fucking asshole. Like, not one time has somebody been like, "Hey, read this book." And I'm like, "Yes, I'd love to read that book." I mean, I'm not a real big book guy, and
Yes, I'm aware.
some people may say I don't know how to read or things like that, but I mean, clearly, if you can see my writing, illiteracy is. It's a real option there.
Yeah. I understand. I do like reading books. I understand like the whole premise of like books. Kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, if I have the option to read a book or watch a movie, I'm picking movie every time. But I don't need a club to talk about that movie. Like,
I like the idea of movie club.
Actually, I'm on board with that.
Just
Might have to rethink this. Might be starting a movie club here soon.
I'm in.
All right, so we got hot takes of the week. Vikings just hired John DeFilippo. He was the Eagles quarterback coach last season. He was the 2015 Browns offensive coordinator. I mean, everybody seems to be on board with this in Viking world. I just don't like it.
Well, like, I understand that. He doesn't have a good track record. The Browns. I mean, I don't know, man. He doesn't have a good.
I mean, I guess you can chalk up. I mean, I'm sure he had a lot to do with Nick Foles looking like a good quarterback, Carson Wentz going nuts this year.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, I don't think he's the number one reason that happened. The Browns in 2015 won 3 games, but they had Johnny Football and Josh McCown. So I love Mansell.
Yeah. He's such an asshole. But I love him at the same time.
That's why I love him.
He's entertaining.
I mean, I think if he were on any other team besides Cleveland, he'd probably still be in the league somewhere. Bare minimum, second, third string.
Probably.
I mean, that's kind of, you could say that about any of the Cleveland quarterbacks the last 10 years.
They're going to die.
Yeah, pretty much.
Poor guys.
So the next hot take is 50 Cent is sneaky the greatest lyricist of all time. I saw this thing on Twitter in the last couple days. Somebody took the lyrics of 21 Questions, highlighted every question, and there was exactly 21 questions. Like
it took years to figure that out.
Yeah, I know. That's insane. I've heard that song like a million times, and like it never even occurred to me that I wonder how many questions he's asking. Things like that. Like,
I'm down with 50. I'm cool with 50 Cent.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only guy in the world that would call Floyd out for not knowing how to read. He's always put out good music. I mean, he had a feud with Kanye for a little bit.
That's right. I forgot about that.
But, I mean, yeah.
I'm a fan of 50. I like 50.
All right. So any parting words of wisdom for this week?
I feel like I'm trying hard to find anything good, man. Sitting there like digging deep trying to find something good. What about you? Any words of wisdom?
Yeah, don't bet on the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
There you go.
No, I'm just kidding. Do bet on them next year.
Next year.
Actually, go ahead and put all your money on the future bet for Patriots. It's a lock.
We're gonna make a lot of money this year. Really good idea.
I think I'm gonna do that like right after this. I mean, it might work.
I would recommend it.
I think they're like plus 1,000. So, yeah, parting words of wisdom. Put all your money, invest in Patriots.
Sell everything else on the Patriots. Sell my car right now.